Magic is all about a magician's ability to make everyone shy away from reality. And that's what makes magic tricks a great spectacle to watch. After all, curiosity is the first emotion which our human mind discovers. So be it David Blaine's impossible card trick, or the famous
Dynamo lighting up an entire river.
Hello and welcome back. And today, we're going to figure out the secrets behind some of the most famous magic tricks. So, let's get started. The first trick:
lighting up the river illusion. Dynamo, the magician known to perform some incredible-looking acts, performed one such wonderful magic trick on the holy Ganges River in India. During this magical act, Dynamo ignites a flowing lamp in the middle of the river, using just his magical gestures. Thereafter, he lights up the entire river with hundreds of lamps, which amazes everyone around. So, how did he do it? Well, here's the secret. Out of all the lamps which Dynamo lights up, only the first one is real, and all the other lamps are electric ones. Yes, since the first lamp he lights up was in close view of the audience. So here, the lighting was done using the chemical properties of sodium and water, and the lamp had sodium present inside it. Since sodium is an alkali metal, and when you mix it up with water, you get a highly reactive exothermic reaction which turns into fire and lights up the lamp. Dynamo then places the first lamp into the river. Thereafter, the lamps, which lit up one by one, were all electric lamps already set up before the trick had started. His assistants controlled the lamps using a remote device and were lit up on Dynamo's gestures, which made this amazing-looking trick possible. The second trick:
the impossible card trick. David Blaine, the daredevil magician best known for stunts like freezing himself in a block of ice and regurgitating a live frog, once performed an amazing, jaw-breaking magic trick on The Tonight Show, where he left Quantico actress Priyanka Chopra and Jimmy Fallon both stunned and shocked by sewing his lips together and performing a terrifying card trick. Here's what he did. To start off the trick, he asked Jimmy whether they'd like to see a card trick or a needle and thread trick. While Jimmy picked the card trick, he decided to go with the other one instead. He requested Priyanka to film the act using Jimmy's cell phone. Using the phone's selfie mode, he looked at himself in the camera and pouted his lips. But instead of snapping a photo, he stuck a needle through his lips and pulled the thread through 3 times to seal his mouth. After watching this, Jimmy, trying to steady his nerves, took a deep breath. But David wanted Jimmy to pull the final stitch. He then signaled to Jimmy to tie a knot with the remaining thread. Now, with David's mouth successfully sewn shut, it appeared the act was over. However, David still wanted to complete his card trick. Without using any words, he signaled for Priyanka to pick one card from the deck without him seeing it. Once she did, he took that card, pulling off the corner, and gave that piece to Jimmy. David then gave the ripped card back to Priyanka, who put it in the deck. After that, he flung the cards into the air and let the cards rain down around him. Next, he pulled out a pair of scissors and signaled for Jimmy to cut open his stitches, but Jimmy passed the duties onto one of his band members. After opening his stitches, now with his open mouth, David Blaine handed back Priyanka's selected card to Jimmy with a touch of added saliva, leaving everyone shocked and stunned. So how did he do such an insane act? Well, here's the secret. First of all, you should never try such things at home or anywhere else. Now, coming to the secret, the sewing part you see is not a trick, and the card that Priyanka chose was forced onto her. Also, David never spit that selected card. The card you saw coming out of David's mouth was already inside of his mouth with an identical Jack of Spades. So let's first see the sewing part. The sewing part you see here is not a trick. It is, in fact, real. This part of David's performance relies more on his exceptional pain tolerance and skills rather than on manipulation or deception. Putting the needle through his lips is actually not that surprising because he has also pierced his hand with an ice pick and did not bleed a drop. So the only secret here must be lots of practice and exceptional pain tolerance capability. Now moving to the next part, card selection, and let's first see how the Jack of Spades card was forced. Here, David used a magician's common card technique called forcing a card. After pulling out the cards from the pack, as you can see, he applies a pinky break between the Jack of Spades and the rest of the deck. For those unfamiliar with the term, a pinky break is a technique used by card magicians to secretly mark a spot in a deck or slightly lift it up. So he intentionally positions the card exactly where he wants it in the deck. In this frame, you can see how he forced the card on Priyanka. Afterward, David tears off a corner of the card and asks Priyanka to place the torn card back into the deck. Then, he flung the cards into the air. Now, you might wonder about the Jack of Spades that came from David's mouth, perfectly matching the torn corner piece. Well, for that part, David uses another Jack of Spades that was already inside his mouth before the act started. Both identical cards, the one he forced and the one in his mouth, were pre-prepared. To create this effect, David stacked the two cards together and cut them simultaneously. The card on top was cut all the way through and placed in his mouth, while the card on the bottom was lightly marked with a sharp object. This marking allowed the card to be easily torn along a predefined line during the performance. You can see how easily Jimmy ripped the piece from the card, which confirms the card was pre-marked. The crease mark isn't visible on the card surface because it's on the backside. The only thing David needed to do was follow the marking and tear the corner along the predefined line. This ensured that the torn piece fit perfectly with the Jack of Spades already inside David's mouth. That's also why David tore the corner himself rather than letting the host do it. But what about the missing corner of the card thrown into the air? Wouldn't someone notice it when the cards landed on the floor? Well, the torn card was actually glued to the adjacent card beneath it using double-sided tape. That's why no one could easily identify it while the cards were thrown in the air. Now, coming to the end teleportation part, as you now know, the card wasn't teleported. David only pretended that the torn card from the thrown deck teleported in his mouth. In reality, an identical Jack of Spades had been hidden in his mouth before the trick began. To reveal the card, David signaled Jimmy to open the stitches on his lips. Afterward, David handed the identical Jack of Spades card to Jimmy with a touch of added saliva, leaving everyone stunned. After finishing the seemingly impossible card trick, David asked for a glass of water but felt something in his mouth. He then spit out a live frog, shocking everyone. To learn more about this incredible trick, watch the video linked in the description below after this one. It's a truly bizarre performance, but full credit goes to David for his masterful execution and unforgettable presentation.
At number 3, Girl Cut in Thirds Illusion. In the world of magic, it is a very common sight to see a magician cutting a girl in half and then magically bringing her back to life. However, the illusion we are going to see now is an improvement over the classic ones. Here, she will not be covered by a box or any other prop. Also, the act involves the use of a pendulum as sharp as any deadly sword. In this variant, the magician cuts the girl's body not in 2, but in 3 parts. To make it look convincing to the audience, he even takes out the middle torso section of the girl and shows it to everyone. Finally, he keeps her torso back in place and joins her together to end this amazing illusion. So, how did he do it? Well, before revealing the secret, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get instant notifications of our new video uploads. Now, let's quickly get to the secret. Contrary to the split in half illusion, this trick doesn't involve the use of a box placed on top of the girl, and we can actually see the girl being cut into pieces. Also in this illusion, there's no need of 2 different girls, and the mechanism is quite different to the older variant. The trick lies in the way she positions herself on the table. When the girl lies down, she lowers down the middle part of her body and positions herself in a bent position as shown here. So her real torso is safely hidden inside the table, and it appears as if she's lying flat on the table. Also, the pillow support allows her to rest safely in that awkward position. But still, after the pendulum cuts through her middle torso, how did they remove it out? Well, to make the illusion possible, the girl was already wearing a form-fitting body cast made of a very thin fiber material, and it was hidden under her dress. Now, some of you would have figured it out by now. Yes, when the pendulum passes through her dress, it was that form-fitting body cast which was cut in pieces and shown to everyone while she was resting safely underneath. Also, to protect her from the sharp blades of the pendulum, a steel plate was placed in between her torso and the body prop, which you can see them removing thereafter. Finally, the fake torso is put back in place and tied with her dress as she gets back up to create this amazing illusion. At number 2, the disappearing card trick. There are only a few magicians in the world who are really good at their sleight of hand skills. As you can see here, the magician puts the cards on that table, but they magically disappear. After some time, he reappears back those missing cards. So, how did the magician perform this trick, and where exactly do the cards disappear? The secret lies in the amazing sleight of hand skills displayed by the magician. If you see carefully in this picture, the magician hides the cards in his hand and conceals it behind his fingers. The camera angles are placed in a way which creates the illusion as if there's nothing in his hand. But if you look from the backstage, he was holding the cards this way. But where exactly did he throw the cards? Well, some of you'd think that he throws the cards on the floor, but that's not the case here. Otherwise, how would he bring those missing cards back again? Instead, there's a secret pocket built in at the back of that table where he threw all those cards. After some time into the trick, he pulls those cards out of the pocket and reappears them back again. He repeats the process quite a few times to deceive everyone around.
So finally, moving on to the last trick on our list,
the magical ring trick. Smoothini, the amazing bar magician, once performed a trick on America's Got Talent where he takes Howie's ring and puts it inside a shoelace. Then he asks the judges, Mel B and Heidi, to hold each end of the shoelace and that pen tightly in their hand. Now he makes the ring to magically travel from the shoelace into that pen. Thereafter, he takes back the ring and asks Mel B to hold the shoelace in her palms. Finally, to shock everyone around, he magically vanishes the ring, as the ring now appears not in the laces inside Mel B's palms, but the ring has traveled all the way down and is seen tied out as Smoothini's shoelaces. So, how did he do this magical trick? Well, here's the secret. Smoothini is known to perform some amazing sleight-of-hand tricks, and here as well, he used his skills to perfection. During the first part, how did the ring travel onto that pen? Here, if you see carefully, he first puts the pen under his arm. Thereafter, he closes his palms and asks the judges to hold on to the lace. Now, during this moment, when he asks Mel B to hold one end of the lace, he puts his right hand down to convince viewers that he's going to take the other end of the lace. Here, he drops the ring into his right hand, and then without anyone noticing, he quickly slides the ring onto the pen under his arm, then takes out the pen. So now the ring is over that pen, and that's why he kept his hand covering the whole pen instead of just grabbing it with his fingers. Finally, the ring is revealed to amaze everyone around. Coming to the next part of this trick, how did he make the ring to travel all the way onto his shoelace? Here, after Smoothini takes back the ring, he quickly placed it in his left hand and then vanishes it altogether. So did he really vanish that ring? Well, not actually. If you look carefully, during this moment, he convinces everyone that the ring is in his left hand. However, he never switched the ring onto his left hand. Instead, he then takes the pen as a distraction and puts the ring and the pen in his right-sided pocket. But still, how did the ring travel all the way onto his shoelaces? Well, there's a mechanism attached to his laces, and watch as he pushes the pen in his pocket. Yes, he drops the ring onto the mechanism. Here you can see how the mechanism has a fake shoelace fixed to a string under his pants. So when he pulls the string inside his pocket, the actual shoelace disappears inside his pants, and the laces, which now have Howie's ring over it, takes the place of the real laces. Now he opens his empty palms, and the ring, as you know it, also isn't inside Mel B's palms. Finally, he reveals Howie's ring magically tied to his shoelace. So guys, hope you got the secrets behind the most famous magic tricks of all time. Which trick did you like the most? And who's your favorite magician of the lot? Also, name any other magic trick you would like us to reveal. Tell us in the comments below. Do like and share this video with your friends on social media. For more such amazing things, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And finally, thanks for watching.